Hello, welcome, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the beginning of the end, Episode 8, Part 1 of Kaz's Fighter Jet Roundtable Tournament. Episode 8 is going to be a special episode, not only because it is the final qualifying episode before the grand finale, but because we happened to have exactly enough submissions to do a bit of an extended rundown to the number 1 spot. That's right, we're going to be having 2 rounds of 8. We're going to have the initial round of 8, get 4 winners out of that, and then have those 4 winners face 4 more new aircraft that were submitted. This was just to make sure that everybody was included. I didn't want to leave anybody out. We've had so many people that have submitted aircraft and have participated in Fighter Jet Roundtable here, and I wanted to make sure that everybody got a chance to show what they were made of. It's my way of saying thank you to everybody for wanting to participate. In any case, that's enough blabbering from me. Let's go ahead, zoom into the watchtower and the round table for the start of Episode 8. And let's see what we have in store for you all today. And here we are on Team A for the first round of 8. We have the F-15X Eagle BD sent in by an absolute newcomer to competition, the illustrious Dr. Protoject. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. It does look very much like an F-15. Looks very much like they may be from the replica side of things. A lot of clipping of parts to kind of get the shape to be exactly what they were looking for. Largely a stock aircraft. I think the only thing that's non-stock are, in fact, the missiles here, and the fact that they're running with Saturns. So basically this appears at first glance to be a stock plus BDA aircraft. Very interesting. Not many of those. Even down here to this tiny little Communitron clipped into the nose to give it that kind of pitot tube looking thing there in the front. We have some gear up here clipped to kind of make it have that F-15 sort of look. And we have plenty of missiles. Yes, this is quite a heavy aircraft, actually. It's got 10 missiles. 4 U.S. AIM-9 120D radar-guided missiles, along with a single set of AIM-9 Sidewinder X's. Jeez, Kaz can't talk today. On the edges of the mounts here, as well as standard AIM-9 Sidewinders just right along the intersection. So they actually have quite a variety of different missile types. Grand total of 10 missiles, like I said, so it's a pretty beefy boy. We've got the ECM jammers around here, and very nice looking air brake. And in order to make it feel even more like an F-15 with the cockpit, they've clipped these little stack separators here into the cockpit to make it look like, it's got the armor, the metal supports and such for the cockpit. Overall, looks like a pretty cool aircraft. Not sure how well it's going to perform, but it certainly looks the part. Its partner in all of this is the TX-01 Sheriff, which is an original aircraft, very much obviously taking inspiration from the F-15, and honestly, kind of looks a little like an Su-57 or PAC-FA, a little bit. It's got this kind of wide, flat front surface here. Looks pretty cool. The air brake, again, has just a single one of those there, and a little Communitron slipped in here. This one is using some non-standard munitions. That one over there, I believe, is using, I didn't see the guns, but there's 30 millimeters hiding somewhere. This, however, is using 2 of the Mausers, very powerful guns, as we've seen. Kind of like the slant on the air intakes actually makes it look very mean. We've got some Meteor missiles there. What's this one? Ball. Okay, there we go. And Mica infrared missiles. So yeah, these are loaded with EU missiles. Looks for the, okay, well, there's an AIM-120 making me a liar. And AIM-9X. So this one is very interestingly outfitted over here. Very, very cool looking. Back here, it's got these air brakes here, which are set to be able to work for pitch and yaw. Not sure how I feel about that. They're very cool, and they look neat, but they don't provide a lot of... Well, they don't provide a lot of actual lifting capacity or control surface, and they deploy and retract so slowly that getting any kind of distinct control advantage out of them is unlikely. That said, though, I have considered making a custom part for perhaps inclusion in the Ace Combat mod pack in the future for having some very specific some actual control surfaces based off of these, giving them increased wing capability so they have less drag and a much faster actuation speed so that you can actually use them as control surfaces near the aft of your craft, which I think would be really, really cool. Anyway, enough of this competitor. We have these two craft. We still have the craft back there for Team B. Let's go ahead and take a look at them, shall we? And over here on Team B, we have two very beautiful, very, very beautiful model recreation style aircraft sent in by a well-dressed male papaya. Yes, our favorite named friend is back with these two aircraft, and just look at these things. They are absolutely gorgeous. If I'm being honest, they're probably going to get torn to shreds, but they are absolutely gorgeous. There's definitely something to be said for looks here. We have an F-104 Starfighter and an F-4 Phantom II using procedural wings even to get the exact size and specification of these parts, and oh my god, they just look so good. Woo! This F-104 Starfighter here is running only with two AIM-9 Sidewinders. Very underpowered compared to its friends over there. It does have a single little Vulcan over here on the corner for its only capability. Let's see, what is it running with? It is running with a Saturn, so it should have lots of get up and go. Although, at the same time, it's just... it's gonna get obliterated. What can I say? But God, it's gorgeous. Oh, and the F-14 Tomcat cockpit, which are the most Phantom and Starfighter-esque looking cockpit in the pack, I believe. So, jeez, this. Woo, boy! Gotta fan myself. This is beautiful. I love this jet. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the Phantom over here. Now, this is where things get kind of cool. The Phantom is actually quite heavily armed for the competition. It did come with wing fuel tanks that they asked were to be jettisoned before takeoff, but I went into the spaceplane hangar and removed them just because I didn't want any debris on the field potentially causing problems for the AI or any other thing in the competition, just to make sure everything is. As a result, it's it's a little back heavy, but that shouldn't prove too much of a problem once it's into the air. It seems to be fairly well balanced, actually. It's just kind of tipping back and forth. No problems there, really. Anyway, it is loaded with heat-seeking missiles, Sidewinders, and AMRAAM missiles, which are far more advanced than anything the actual Phantom had. Is also running with two Panther engines, so it's going to be really slow. I really hope it performs well, but I don't have high hopes for it. Again, these are replica-style aircraft. And being as it is a replica, it has a Vulcan turret down here, which has been locked into a forward-firing position. I did check, it will not gimbal, it will stay facing completely forward. Main thing here is normally any kind of turreted weapon other than the 50 cal turret is illegal for the competition. However, due to the nature that this thing is certainly not as powerful as a 30mm gun, is locked in place, and I mean, it just looks beautiful, and it was part of the thing. I decided to say, screw it, we can let it through. I don't think it's going to be overpowered or broken in any way, because it is locked in place, and it is only one gun, and 20mm Vulcan at that point, so I don't expect it to do too much, but we'll have to see. In any case, that'll do it from Papaya here. Let's go ahead and get these aircraft into the air and see how they fare for round one. And we're back at the Watchtower with Kaz Kerman for round one. Let's get these aircraft into the air. I wish everybody the best of luck, particularly our gorgeous recreations over here. I don't have high hopes for them, but I will still wish them the absolute and very best, because they are gorgeous, and I do love pretty aircraft. These things definitely put form over function for the tournament, and I can support that kind of style. It says, I don't care if I win or lose, I just want to look pretty while doing it, which, you know, hey, I can get behind that. So, we have the aircraft moving out into the distance, getting ready for the competition. And there we go. Competition started. Looks like we have an AIM-9 missile being fired over here. A couple of them being fired at long range for the Sheriff and the Eagle. We have some missiles being launched over here as well, AIM-120Ds. Coming in, the Starfighter and the Phantom, both dropping chaff and flares. We have a connection with a missile over here. Looks like an AIM-9 has managed to wipe out the Sheriff. You might even say that they shot the Sheriff. And here we go. We have an AIM-120D flying in again from long range. The F-15X Eagle coming in now by itself. So let's go ahead and get behind that aircraft as it zooms in. We'll go into fighter mode just because it is the only aircraft left on its side. A lot of camera shake there as it launches the missile. You can hear those Panther engines switching between afterburning mode and standard dry mode. Double missiles flying in. We have that single Vulcan now launching at the Phantom. F-15, a far superior aircraft to the actual Phantom. We'll have to see if this replica-style aircraft can live up to the legend that is the Eagle. F-104 Starfighter on the back of the Eagle trying to light it up with that 20mm. And as we can see, it is your standard Vulcan-style gun. Or, you know, both of them have the standard Vulcan-style guns. Not seeing anything spectacular there. Flares, though, coming from all over the place. Let's go ahead and get behind this Phantom. Just look at this thing. Oh my god, it's beautiful. And there it is, launching with that gun pod. Now, those that are aircraft enthusiasts may actually know that the original Phantom was launched without a gun. The reasoning behind that was because, it's an extremely new fighter with these high-tech things called missiles. We don't have to worry about guns. We'll kill them with the missiles. Except the missiles it was using was they were notoriously inaccurate, had all kinds of problems, not actually firing and everything else. So, later on, the U.S. military figured out, they basically hung a gun pod underneath the fighter, giving it the capability to, use guns against the MiGs and stuff when its missiles wouldn't work. Still, this is a 2v1. You can see the Phantom trying to get a bead on the Eagle with that 20mm gun. Not a whole lot of luck with it. It seems a little bit unstable. Probably using fairly bog standard AI controls, I'd guess. This thing in flight, though, is a beautiful thing to watch. Speaking of beautiful things, let's go ahead and get on over here to the Starfighter for a bit. It did, in fact, fire that missile. Gosh, this one has the most thrust to weight, I think. Well, it's definitely got the most thrust to weight out of the two aircraft here. Very, very sleek. It's got the single Saturn, but that single Saturn can give it... I mean, look at that thrust to weight ratio in the corner. It's at max of 4 right now. And that will only get to be more. Coming in. Oh, we have a Vulcan strike. Looks like something went down on the Starfighter here. Not sure what. Looks like the tiny little engine, the tiny little cone in the back there got blown up. And Starfighter trying to close in using that Supreme, well, not Supreme, that little Vulcan. Just not a whole lot of velocity there. It's now getting in close. This could potentially be it. Except for the fact that the F-15 does, in fact... Oh! The Phantom coming in with the guns, getting shots on the tail. Oh, look at that! Oh, man. And here I was ready to completely count these things out, but it appears that perhaps I did speak too soon. This could... uh-oh, that's close to the ground! Oh, and we know what that means. That's a dead-on collision. Amazingly, the two replica fighters managing to eke out a victory here for round 1. Let's go ahead and get into round 2. Man, I'm excited. And we're back for round 2 between these aircraft. Let's go ahead and get them into the air. Hopefully they'll work a little better with the startup. But man, I can't be the only one who appreciates the irony of the Phantom getting a gun kill on the Eagle to end out this fight for round 1. We have had a beautiful start to episode 8 so far, and literally a beautiful start. I don't have high hopes for the replica aircraft moving on, because we've got a lot of very deadly looking things for them to contend with. However, the fact that they were able to get their kills early on and everything else just means that, well, you never know until it's over on Fighter Jet Roundtable. That's part of the reason I love this series. So, once again, the aircraft are heading quite a ways out from each other. They should basically be within range now, but competition starting. So again, cancel start competition. Should be ready soon. At least I hope it'll be ready soon. Alright guys, come on, quit screwing around. Fight already. And there it is. Finally, competition starts. Probably going to end up cutting that out. At least cutting the wait time down. So once again, believe it or not, the replica aircraft get their missiles off first. We have another AIM 120 streaking in there. I believe the last time they were AIM 9s that got the kill. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Starfighter crashed into the ground. There's no way that could have been a missile. This time it appears the shoe is on the other foot, the Phantom by itself. So let's go ahead and actually look at the Phantom this time around. You hear those Panther engines turning on and off as it tries to lower its heat signature. Missile streaks by, just barely managing to miss it. And a missile right on in. This time, it looks like the Eagle and the Sheriff are not taking any guff from anyone. And with a vicious comeback, they obliterate the other team for a win. In round 2, that means we're going to round 3. I would expect nothing less for episode 8. And we're back for round 3, into the air with these 4 fighters. I'm really getting tired of having to start and stop the competition just to get them to fight each other, so this time I do think I might manually activate guard mode. Just to and I'll go from one team to the other, so I'll start with one and then go through, just to make sure that I don't activate one team before the other one. Unless the competition starts immediately. We do have lots of other fights to get through for this episode. Part of the downside of doing things my way is that everybody gets multiple attempts to blow the crap out of each other just to try and make sure everything is as fair as it can be, instead of a one-off wonder. The aircraft are 100% far enough away from each other. We'll start with the Starfighter and the Eagle, since they're farther away. Eagle, then going to there and there. Let's close that let's cancel that competition there. Now the guard mode should be on. Wait a minute. Why aren't they fighting each other? Whatever. Competition starting. I guess I just have to be patient. Once again, looks like actually the other side got their missiles off first. AIM-120s flying in. Starfighter crashed into the ground last time. Let's see if it'll repeat itself. 120Ds streaking in. Wait a minute, we've got a missile kill. Once again, the Sheriff getting obliterated from long range. Wait a minute, we might have gotten... Oh my goodness! 2 missile kills over here on the other team. All we have left is this tiny... So basically the weapon manager and the ammunition box are all that's left, other than... looks like there is actually something up there. Ooh. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces just coming down over here. Oh, there's actually, well, there was part of an aircraft, but it appears that the other two have managed to blow it up. Well, apparently I should have a little more faith in these aircraft. After all, they are modeled after real-world fighting jets. Despite the fact that they did go to obliterated quite quickly early on. For round 2, they pulled it out for a victory. In round 3, that means the F-104 Starfighter and the F-4 Phantom II are going on to the next round of 8. Congratulations, Papaya. And here we are for the second fight of the first round of 8. Let's take a look at what we've got here. On Team A, we have the AFN Mark II sent in by none other than Ace Verco. AFN actually stands for Angry French Noises. I'm not actually sure why. Maybe there's a Eurofighter this is based off of or something? I honestly don't know. Either way, looking pretty sleek with that very nice Tomcat cockpit. We've got a single PL-10 missile there, a backwards-facing AIM-9 Sidewinder, and here's the best part, tucked down here in the middle, along with a single Mauser. I don't know how well you can see it. There it is. Whoop, it's right there. There's an EML in here. right there. This is haulin' the big guns. Honestly, I really, really hope that we see some EML kills. You know me, I love to see special weapons getting kills. Hell, I'd like to see special weapons getting used. I mean, after all, I did make them to be used, and nobody seems to be using them. So, this aircraft looks, if it's like any of Ace's other designs, it should be quite formidable. We're running with Product 30 engines there, along with 2 tiny afterburning turbofan Tiger engines. Nice split air brake type configuration here. Also for control surfaces, looks very sleek. Got the split air brake on the tail like the space shuttle had. Honestly, quite an interesting looking aircraft. Very, very cool. This thing has proven to be a terror in Fighter Jet Showdown, or at least between seasons. I don't think it's ever actually been there. Either way, it will be interesting to see how it performs. So let's go ahead and get on over to Team B. So, over here on Team B, we have the Super Sylph Mark II-A, sent in by Jimmy. Yes, Jimmy. Good old Jim Bob, Jim Boy, sending in this meme of an aircraft. Once it was found out that Sylph Canards actually have quite a bit of authority and lifting capability for their size, despite the fact that they have very little hit points. Well, he decided he would be Super Meme Boy and submit a craft that was controlled completely by Sylph Canards, and in this case, 2 Saturn engines. Also running with the only special weapon that's seen a considerable amount of use as of late is the 50 cal turret along with it, and a single Mauser up front, using a very nice of my the F-18 cockpit from NMB, one of my favorite cockpits in that pack actually. Yeah, and just loading with the meme Team Killer PL-10E missiles. Lots of them, 6 of them in total. This is a bit of a chunky boy. Oh wait, no, more than that. We've got 6 and then 2 more, so we've got 8 full missiles on this thing. It is a hefty boy. As are most of Jimmy's designs. A light aircraft is something Jimmy seems to be incapable of doing. So we have the utter meme versus an angry Frenchman. I guess we'll have to see which one will come out on top. And whichever one wins. I don't know. I was gonna say we lose, but I don't know. We'll see. Anywho, let's go ahead and get them started and into the air for round 1. And we're off for round 1. Let's get him into the air. I do know that Jimmy spent a considerable amount of time testing out these Super Sylph aircraft with some help from other members of the community, trying to make it as deadly and meme-worthy as possible. Plasma stealth unit on the aircraft, and I didn't catch it. Immediately, the Super Sylph's turning around first, and, well, actually, they're firing off missiles at roughly the same time. Looks like PL-10 missiles streaking over through the distance. One of the PL-10s takes out the other PL-10. Angry French noise is getting low. That PL-10 barely missing there. Looks like it's heading for the ground, and it does hit the ground. Another PL-10 missile coming from the Super Sylphs. This is just a missile-palooza, one after the other being launched, pinning those targets down in the corner. Let's go ahead and get behind one of the Super Sylphs. Uh-oh, of course, as soon as I zoom in, we have an explosion of some kind. AFN, we have AFN's missing some parts. I don't know how damaged it is over there. Kinda scared to check. Well, this one seems to be doing okay. This one, down but not out. Firing with that EML at fairly close range, actually. Looks like it switches to its gun. The Mauser, while trying to let the EML cool down, You have the turret on the Super Sylph there, firing at the AFN. Gotta say, though, the AFN can turn pretty sharply. Perhaps not quite as sharply as the Super Sylph, but pretty sharply nonetheless. Looks like it's still on that Mauser. A little unstable now that those control surfaces and, well, actually the control surfaces on the wing. Oh! Oh! We have hits on that Super Sylph. It's spiraling out of control. Uh-oh, we have a little bit of overheating. Looks like one of the engines is a little hot there. Angry French noises. And just as I say something, the wounded Super Sylph that took the shot is now coming in on the tail of this wounded AFN. Super Sylph on the tail of both of the AFNs right now. Uh-oh, vertical stabilizer is out. That means we're going to have some stability problems. A lot of drifting going on, which is something that Maximus Light is awfully fond of, but this is not going to be helping this aircraft at all. Let's go ahead and go to this, one of the Super Sylphs. Let's see which one was the damaged one. This one here appears to be the damaged one. Only superficial damage, however. Uh-oh, we've got debris, and that looks, yep, that is AFN debris. Not sure if that was the intact one or not, but it is getting shredded by the guns of the Super Sylph. And that's no good. Looks like we had some friendly fire from the guns of the other Super Sylph, managing to carve off the rear control tail surface there on the Super Sylph. That's where it gets most of its control authority from. It's just kind of flailing around now with some unequal turn capability there. Doesn't look like it has any vertical stabilizers either with that gone. I mean, I guess these kind of count, but it doesn't really have much in the way of yaw control. Super Sylph over there, still shooting at this AFN. Managing to get some good gunshots on it. AFN gonna hit the brakes and they'll fly right by. The 50 cal actually blowing something off. And the other AFN looks like it was not very long. Wait a minute, looks like we've had a collision over there. I'm just seeing tons of AFN parts and Super Sylph parts. That's the only kind of thing that can happen over there. Unless they got into a joust. This Super Sylph is down completely. It's not going to be doing anything for anyone over there. That means we've only got the FN over here. Things are suddenly a lot quieter. Wait a minute! That Super Sylph appears to be down also. I'm not detecting any engine sound from it. It has no engines. It is completely engineless. Does it still have guns? It appears to maybe, yeah, it's still got a Mauser on there. It could theoretically get a gun or missile kill. But we have to see this AFN having some real problems staying aloft without all the full control. Hello, Kerman here, just doing her best to keep her aircraft in the air until her enemy manages to hit the ground. We have a cheeky EML shot at close range, trying to take out that Super Sylph. Super Sylph is now mostly in glide mode. We're basically in a fight to see who lands first. Looks like the Super Sylph might actually make it there first. Because it is coming down, although it does have a lot of... It's basically gliding. Although it is dropping well over, looks like 10, perhaps, I'm going to say maybe 20 meters per second or so. Coming down, it looks like it's going to come down hard. And that is it. The AFN has won round 1 against the Super Sylph. And nobody is happier about that than me. Screw you people and your crazy meme planes. We're back for round 2 between these aircraft. after the AFN fighting tooth and nail to get round 1 victory for itself. Let's see if the Super Sylphs are going to be able to come back. Part of me hopes they don't. Not because I have anything against Jimmy, I just hate the fact that this thing is trying to meme its way to victory. I don't like that. Arctifier luckily seems to have learned his lesson from the plane. The Some plane. Some of you may remember that aircraft being a major thorn in my side. Although it did manage to get defeated, he has also submitted an aircraft for this competition, and it'll show up in some later parts. But it's a much more standard aircraft, using Sylph Canards more for looks than true performance. Again, Super Sylphs turning around first, getting their missiles off first. PL-10 missiles zipping through the distance between these two fighters. PL-10 from the AFNs being launched. Not sure if they're... Oh! One missile takes out 2 missiles. Very good. Oh! EML streaking across at long range, trying to get a shot. A cheeky shot. PL-10 missile tracking onto nothing. EML again streaking by. 2 EML shots streaking by. Jeez, it's crazy to see how fast those things are. Looks like we're getting some incredibly long-range gunshots there. Now that we're closed in, let's go ahead and get behind one of the AFNs. See how it's doing. Very squirrely aircraft, all things considered, and it's not using any Sylph Canards. And in case anybody's wondering, I'm calling them Sylph Canards because the part is... Oh, dear. And AFN getting blown apart by perhaps a missile. Guns typically don't leave confetti like that. Looks like the Super Sylph is ready to take its revenge on the angry Frenchman. Hello, Kerman, not doing so well this time. Looking a little panicked, actually. Hello, Kerman. What have you got there? You have such a terrified smile. And some buzz-cut hair. Terrible Kaz rhymes aside, this AFN is now in a hornet's nest of Super Sylph activity. Super Sylph constantly on the tail of this thing. Much heavier aircraft in the Super Sylph, though. Hopefully the high thrust weight of the AFN here will allow it. Oh, and we have a joust. Very cool. Oh, geez. Super Sylph turns in hard. Uh-oh. We're seeing explosive hits. That's never a good sign. Not seeing any major damage at the moment. Most things are appearing fairly superficial. Might have accidentally, well, not accidentally, might have accidentally knocked off a missile, perhaps. When missiles, they explode similarly to that. Only has 1 missile left on this thing. And, more friendly fire from the Super Sylphs. That time it looked like a missile. Speaking of missiles, this Angry French Noises tries to get a lock with its AIM-9. Does not manage to do so. Super Sylph now very much on the tail. Yep, that Super Sylph appears to be going down. That could be good for the AFN here. But you never know. AFN Super Sylph is down. We have a mostly undamaged AFN against the solo Super Sylph. Trying to light it up with those shots from the Mausers. Uh-oh, Super Sylph getting, AFN getting dangerously close to the terrain there. Finally manages to pull up and away, putting some distance between it and the Super Sylph. It turns on a dime, comes back around. Again, very nimble aircraft. And again, no Sylph Canards whatsoever on this aircraft. You can make very maneuverable, very effective, very deadly aircraft without having to use Sylph Canards. fact, I'd honestly go so far to say is that if you can do it, it's honestly a better choice to go without them. Simply because the other canards and other such turning... Oh! That was a nasty, nasty hit. Looks like it... Nope, the EML is still there. Might be the only gun it's still... Nope. Well, actually, it might only be... EML might be the only gun left. It's going to have to fight hard. It's going to hit... Oh, so close to the ground there. Oh, man. Hello, Kerman was almost getting ready to say goodbye there. I'm just full of puns. I'll be here for the rest of the episode. So, again, we have going into a joust. EML streaks by the cockpit of the Super Sylph, almost getting a deadly, deadly hit. Getting close to the ground, still managing to turn very sharply here. The AFN is definitely not to be taken lightly. Very vicious, very maneuverable aircraft. Since we are on 1v1 here, let's go ahead and get into fighter mode, just so I don't have to work so hard with the, I don't have to work so hard with a camera. Oop, that's not what I want to do. There we go. Let's zoom it out a bit. It's still got that EML. God, man. The only gun it's got left is an EML, so if it is going to win this, it's going to win it via EML kill. You know, oh, another shot as it comes in. EML very deadly, but not perfectly accurate. It still needs to be mounted in a favorable position for the AI to be able to aim it and fire it correctly. This fight might potentially come down to fuel efficiency. Alternatively, if the AFN continues making maneuvers like that, it could be in for a fairly short lifespan here. And we have another joust. We're going back and forth into jousts here. Let's go ahead and slip on over to the Super Sylph, see how it's doing for fuel. Says it's got just shy of now about 230 seconds. How long this one got? Oh, well, it says it has both more and less. We'll have to see how it's going. Can that EML manage to get a kill? Actually, wait a minute. It does look like it has... It does have a BK-27. Oh, no. AFN crashes into the ground. Well, it's now 1-1 for the second in the first round of 8. Let's go ahead and get into round 3. Here we are for round 3 between these fighters. Place your bets now in the comments and or the Discord. Who's going to win this one? Could be anybody's fight at this point. Both have proven themselves to be quite deadly. In particular, the Super Sylphs seem to be rather deadly toward each other. So those PL-10 missiles, man, yeah, they're great, but they have a lot more team kills on their record than any other missile. Either way, we've got both aircraft heading into the air. Super Sylph versus the AFN. Who will win? The superest of Sylphs or the angriest of Frenchmen? We'll have to find out. And Super Sylphs getting their missiles off first, launching those PL-10 missiles from a long distance. PL-10s also being launched from the AFNs. Are they going to track onto each other? Oh, they are! PL-10s, again, two birds, one stone. Single PL-10 now, continuing on, knocking out another PL-10 missile from the Super Sylphs. Their missile spam technique is not working as anticipated at the moment, although the AFNs can't keep that up forever. Another Blue Streak speeds by, nearly nailing that Super Sylph. Speaking of nailing a Super Sylph, we have a Super Sylph exploding. I didn't see if that was from a missile or if it blew itself up with its own... I'm not honestly sure. I really don't know what's going on there. I gotta see this. Oh, and a missile comes in, hits this Super Sylph, eradicates it. Well, that explains what happened to this one and why I was moving so quickly. And just to put the nail on the coffin for the meme-tastic Minecraft, we have the victor for the second round in the first round of 8, going to Ace Verco and the Angry French Noises Mark II. And our favorite pilot, Hello Kerman. Well, as we take a final goodbye to Hello Kerman, your winner for this part is going to be, well, it's going to be the Angry French Noises. I have been Kaz. Stay tuned. This is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, just the beginning of episode 8. We have another episode after this one for the first round of 8, and then 2 more coming for the second round of 8 to make sure everybody gets to participate. Thanks for sticking with me for so long, if you're still watching, and even though we won't be accepting any more fresh submissions, goodbye and happy building.